Hello, can everyone hear me?
Hey Scott, loud and clear.
Hey, how's everyone doing? Welcome to this virtual webinar. Let me introduce myself. I'm Scott Goldstein. I'm the web librarian at Appalachian State University. And let's see. Thank you for attending. And if everyone goes to the nclaonline.org website, all the information for all of our sessions are located there. At the end of today, or at the end of today's presentation, we'll have the video of this recording uploaded. And at the end of this presentation, I'll also be asking you to fill out an evaluation so you can let us know how we did. It's the first time we're doing this kind of virtual conference, so I hope you enjoy it. Let me very briefly introduce our presenters, and then I'll basically just hand it over to them. So we have Michael English, Joy Jackson, and Patricia West from George Mason University, and they'll be telling us a little about embedding the librarians, embedding the students. So Patricia and Michael and Joy, if you're ready to go, I'm ready to hand it off to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Scott. And thank you all for being here. As Scott said, my name is Patricia West, and I'm presenting from George Mason University Libraries here in tropical Fairfax, Virginia, where it's 75 in February, and we are all a little freaked out. So as Scott said, we're going to be talking a little bit about creating a community of inquiry in an online class. And I'm here with my two colleagues, Joy Jackson and Michael English. We all work in the undergraduate library here on campus. And our presentation today is going to focus on our work with the freshman honors students on campus who take a research methods class in their first semester. Our presentation is going to include an interactive piece, which we hope you will participate in. We want to give you an idea of how the program works and also what the students would have experienced online. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about, this is us. Yay, advance the slides, Patricia. And then, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the Honors College here at Mason. It was actually developed 20 years ago this year. In the partnership with the college and the library goes back almost that far. As I said, honors freshmen are required to take Honors 110, which is a very intensive research methods class, which requires a major research paper based on a topic of interest. The program, I should mention, has a very strong emphasis on undergraduate research, which is a strong program here at Mason. And so to that end, we're taking students who were, high school seniors just a few months before and working with them to help develop a very intense research paper. So one of the things I should say is the key part of the library's involvement with this program, and where we are really truly embedded in this program, has always included one-on-one meetings between the students and a subject librarian. As the program has grown, which it has quite a bit, enrollment last year was over 400, that one-on-one interaction was no longer possible. It got really kind of hairy there near the end. And so what we have moved to is a model where the librarians are actually in 4 recitation sessions during the semester. And we will teach them the students a number of skills during those 4 sessions, including some session on the information cycle, searching techniques, including keyword identification. And then we usually have 2 sessions where we talk about subject-specific databases, the idea of kind of getting them down into the literature of their chosen subject to let them really dig down into the scholarship. For fall 2016, it was decided to move 2 sections of this class to a hybrid model with the idea of piloting the concept. Mason, like many institutions out there, is building a more robust online program, and this honors class is a very small piece of that. So I'm going to turn the program over to my colleague, Michael, who's going to talk about the community of inquiry.
Thank you, Patricia. So we're going to move on to community of inquiry, and I'll talk about, I'll give you a brief overview of the community of inquiry for those who aren't familiar, and then we'll talk about how we've applied the framework to the online instructional modules that we created for this class. And then Joy will continue that conversation, and then we'll do an activity with you guys to give you a flavor of the of what we did within the class. So the community of inquiry framework for online learning environments is a social constructivist framework. It's grounded in John Dewey's work in practical inquiry, and libraries are beginning to recognize the community of inquiry as a valuable model for developing online library instruction. We're starting to see it turn up in the library literature, and then we're also seeing community of inquiry come up a lot more often in library presentations such as this one. The community of inquiry is grounded in a series of articles that Garrison, Anderson, and Archer, who were 3 researchers from the University of Alberta in Canada, they published them in 99, 2000, and 2001, when they were conducting research into the effects of computer-mediated communication on the quality and outcome of the learning process. So in the early days of online learning, these computer-mediated communication was, for the most part, strictly text-based. So today, with video and all the technology, there's a lot more opportunities to really create a more robust community of inquiry. So what did they determine in their research? Basically, they found that a worthwhile online educational experience takes place within a community of inquiry, which is made up of students and teachers interacting across 3 core elements of teaching presence, social presence, and cognitive presence. And so optimal learning occurs where these 3 elements interact, creating what they call an optimal educational experience. So now we'll take a little closer look at each of the 3 core elements of the community of inquiry: the teaching presence, social presence, and cognitive presence. It all starts basically with the teaching presence, and that begins before the class ever begins, as the instructor is designing the course. In a nutshell, teaching presence is teacher-student interaction during the lesson or course duration, and the teacher's design of an effective learning environment. And it's defined by Garrison and et al. As the design of the educational experience, including the selection, organization, and primary presentation of course content, as well as design and development of learning activities and assessment and facilitation. And the facilitation function may be shared with students, and the overall aim of the teaching presence is to support and enhance the social and cognitive presences. Social presence, in a nutshell, provides interaction in the online environment that allows students to feel that they are in a supportive and open environment. And it's defined by Garrison and the others as the ability of participants in the community of inquiry to project their personal characteristics into the community, thereby presenting themselves to the other participants as real people. And social presence also functions as a support for cognitive presence, and it indirectly facilitates the process of critical thinking. And then finally, the most important element and the ultimate aim, cognitive presence, in short, is knowledge that is generated from collaborative interaction. And they define it as the extent to which the participants in any particular configuration of a community of inquiry are able to construct meaning through sustained communication. And they go on further to say it is a vital element of critical thinking, a process and outcome that is frequently presented as the perceived goal of all higher education. So when they developed the framework, Garrison, Anderson, and Archer mapped indicators of each of the presences for the purposes of being able to measure these elements within the online learning environments. So some indicators of teaching presence include instructional management, which includes class curriculum, the structure, the timelines, the assessments. The instructor building understanding, which is usually through facilitation or scaffolding, and direct instruction, which entails presenting content and guiding. Social presence indicators include expression of emotion including self-disclosure. The more one tells about themselves, the more others are likely to share about themselves, which builds trust and community. Open communication, including reciprocal and respectful exchanges and recognition, and group cohesion. And then finally, some cognitive presence indicators include dissonance, exploration, integration, information, and resolution. Okay, so now I'm going to take you into the course, and I'll demonstrate how we applied this model to develop our library instructional modules. And I'll point out indicators of teaching presence and social presence. And then Joy will talk about cognitive presence. And then again, we'll take you through the demonstration activity. So I'm just going to pull up this here. Okay, so this is the main entry page for the Honors 110 hybrid course. And this was, of course, all designed by the course instructor. And then our librarian modules are in the course instructional modules here. And then we also have an Ask a Librarian module here. And so I'm going to show you that Ask a Librarian module really quick. And I'm going to open it here. So we have an Ask a Librarian discussion forum, pretty standard stuff here. The widget for our virtual reference down here. And then a number of different ways to request help from a librarian. And then in the Ask a Librarian forum, we also have a welcome message here to encourage questions from the students. So far, nothing, pardon me? They're saying you can't see the screen. Let's see. Hit resume share. Resume share. Hang on one second. Screen sharing is paused. Change when we switched. Yeah, I think we need to share the whole screen. Let's see. Hang on one second. Or maybe we Is that what we're seeing now? Did we see the previous? The library, Ask a Librarian? I don't think we saw that. Section, okay. I'm going to go back really quick to the Ask a Librarian section. And that is going to be, actually, I don't see it. Oh, because it's not live. It's not active. Close this and reopen. And, okay, there it is. Share screen. We can see it. Good, okay. So just really quick, this is what I just talked about and you guys missed. Sorry about that. This is the Ask a Librarian section. We have the forum, our virtual reference widget, and then a number of ways to get help. And then when you go into the librarian forum, what you're going to see is our welcome message here. And whoops, there we go. So, okay. So far, again, this is pretty standard stuff, nothing too extraordinary, but we do have some indicators here. And what we've seen is teaching presence by way of the design of the Ask a Librarian module, and then instructor social presence by way of inserting a little bit of personality and emotion into the welcome message with the exclamation points, the welcoming message, and the emoticon down here. It's important to remember that the instructor is a member of the community of inquiry. So when the instructor displays social presence, that also builds trust and encourages others to do so, and that all promotes cognitive presence. Okay, so now we'll actually go into the actual library instruction modules. So I'm going to click on course modules here, and then we should just be on this screen for the remainder. So as Patricia mentioned, in the face-to-face classes, in these Honors 110 classes, the libraries have been for recent semesters in 4 recitations. So we did the same thing in the online class. So we are here in recitation 2, the information cycle, recitation 3, searching databases, and then in weeks 7 and 9, we come back, recitation 7, disciplinary databases, and then recitation 9, disciplinary databases, part 2. So for the sake of this demonstration, we're just going to take a look at the Recitation 2 module, which is the information cycle. So first of all, we have the overall structure and assessments built in here of the model, which are teaching presence indicators. And then next, if we look at the first section here, the introduction, we have our introductory video, which I won't play for you guys. It's just about a minute long though, just trying to be friendly librarians. So here we're inserting our social presence, and then we follow that by the module learning objectives. Again, inserting a strong instructor presence by following best practices in course design and having module level objectives. And then here in 2 of the 3 objectives, this one and this one, we're using verbs from Bloom's taxonomy to write our objectives so that the objectives can be measured. So again, using best practices and creating objectives. You'll see that we use critically evaluate and then here identify. And the reason I said 2 out of 3 is that when we were prepping for this presentation, we noticed that we didn't really use a really measurable word here in the first objective. Something better would be something like describe how or something like that. So next we continue with, next step here on the page, we continue with some more teaching presence by giving step-by-step instructions on how to subscribe to the Ask a Librarian forum. And following that, we have our introduction to the information cycle activity. So this is essentially direct instruction. So another teaching presence indicator. This is essentially giving the students background information on the information cycle and introducing the activity so that they'll be able to successfully complete the activity. And then we have the actual information cycle components here, and Joy will be talking about those when she talks about cognitive presence. So I'm going to go down here to the locating a source, and for this part, basically they do the information cycle activity, which Joy's going to talk about, and then after they do that, they choose one of the 9 sources that they encountered in the information cycle activity. They take a screencast of themselves locating the source via the university libraries page, beginning at the home page as a start place for their screencast, and then they upload the file of their screencast to the locating a source discussion board. This gives students a great opportunity to express emotion, indicator of social presence, and you'd also be surprised at the level to which one can self-disclose, another social presence indicator, while narrating his or her screencast. And then finally, Joy and I commented on each of the screencast posts, and I'll just show you one example of that here. Go back to the PowerPoint, and oh, it's good? Okay, thanks. And we'll go to the next slide. Okay, so here's an example. Hi, Noah, great job locating the full text version of this press release. Great job also verifying that you had the right source, so encouragement. You did a nice job also of demonstrating and expand my results. So again, recognizing, giving recognition, another teaching presence indicator and social presence. Since the quick search casts such a wide net, I typically recommend against it, against using it, except in the particular case such as you had here, when you have specific source title, blah, blah, blah. So guiding and further instruction. Most times we will not be looking for a specific source, but we'll be looking for search statements with combinations of keywords to do your searching. And in this case, it is best to do these searches in the most appropriate individual database. Nice work. And then a little bit of social presence insertion here. P.S. The video was a bit shaky. I think this student created his video with an iPhone, which a couple of students did. We did give them a number of options. And so we give them an option about another tool. Jing is a terrific free tool for capturing screencasts that I recommend. So that's pretty much it on social and teaching presences. And then I'm going to turn it over to Joy, and she's going to take it from here.
Thank you, Michael. So next, I'll show you one of the activities that we use to create cognitive presence. So as we mentioned previously, our information cycle exercise is based on the in-person activity. However, it was also chosen because it has two attributes that research shows promote cognitive presence, specifically problem-based prompts and peer facilitation. So let me navigate back to the online module. Okay, so problem-based prompts ask students to discuss a problem and work together to find a solution. And research shows that unlike typical online discussion activities that often don't progress past the exploration stage, problem-based prompts can achieve a resolution, which is the final level of cognitive presence. So as you see here, this is the prompt. Students are required to individually complete a quiz where they review 9 sources, and using context clues, they order them from earliest to latest. So I'll give you a quick look at the exercise. And this is just a quiz we made in Blackboard. And as you can see, they're just required. They can click on these images and open up to see a bigger version of each. So they can, so it's easier for them to read each resource. But basically, they just sort of number it and submit it. So they're doing this individually. And then once they do that, they have to move on to the next part of the exercise. And so in addition to peer facilitation, additionally, peer facilitation is a technique that relies on students to lead the discussion. So this is important because researchers have shown that students participate more in the discussion when they are led by a peer. And as you'll see in the next 2 parts of the assignment, we encourage this type of student-led interaction. So specifically, the next step, part 2, requires students to discuss the answers that they got from the individual quiz within assigned groups. And so if you look over here in the left-hand menu, there's a group link. Because of privacy concerns, I can't actually show you the discussion forums, but each student is assigned a group, and they can only see the discussion for the group they're assigned to. And so within each group, then they must come to a consensus on the correct order of resources. Okay, and then for the final step, the students are asked to share the order and reasoning that they determined within their own group within the class discussion forum. And that is over here. And it is the recitation 2 information cycle activity. Okay. So now that we've shown you a little bit about how we've developed cognitive, social, and teaching presence within the online course, we want to give you a little taste of what it's like as a student experiencing the exercise firsthand. So let me go back. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you take a look at these exercises and based on the context clues, place them in order. And what we really would like you to do is in the discussion, in the chat board, is to sort of get together and discuss what you think is the best way to organize these resources together. Okay, and so just for a little bit of background information, the first one, A, is a blog, B is a movie poster, and C, of course, as you can see, is a scholarly article. So we're going to give you just a few minutes to discuss and review, and then we'll take you over to a poll so you can sort of give us your answers. Yeah, just about 2 minutes. So feel free to discuss. Yeah, the movie is a documentary. And make sure that when you're thinking about the order, it needs to be chronological order. No publication dates. This is exactly how the students would get it. Right, so it looks like the blog post mentions 2014, so it probably has been posted after that. So Lisa, what position do you think it might be in? First, second, third? Okay. Anybody else have any suggestions, any thoughts on the proper order for this? Okay. I would think the video or blog would compete for publication. I'm thinking the blog post and the movie might be based on the research, so maybe see first, then the blog, and then the movie. Okay. All right, so now what I want you to do is, based on everyone's discussion, I want you to, I'm going to take you over to a poll, and there's going to be a link in the chat box for you to go to, or you can just sort of copy and paste the link into a browser, but just remember that when you click the link, it's going to open up a new page. So if you get a little lost, remember that you're in a new window in order to navigate back to the Zoom presentation. Okay, so this is the poll at the very top. Just navigate to pollev.com/JoyJackson606. And when you get there, what you're going to do is you're going to drag and drop the resources in order from earliest to latest. Okay? And we're also going to put the link in the chat box just in case you want to click it that way. Excellent. We've got some responses already. Okay, is anybody else having trouble navigating to the So it looks like just about everyone has answered. Oh, nope, we still got some people. All right, so we're going to go ahead and look at the results. So it appears that most people have decided that the scholarly article is the first was the published the earliest. Most people think that the blog was published second and the movie was produced third. So let's take a look at the actual answers. So it was the scholarly article first, the movie second, and the West Coast Fisheries third. The blog was third. 100%, and it's that easy to determine, and the point of the exercise isn't for students to be able to get it 100% perfect. It's to get them to start thinking critically about the sources that they're going to use. Okay? So now that you've seen something, now that you've gone through the exercise, what are your thoughts? Have you done anything similar at your library? Did you like the exercise? Was it too easy, too hard? No thoughts? Yeah, it is. It's not always easy, but understanding, but after they go through it, what we do is we sort of explain how resources are published to help them navigate that in the future. But yeah, it is not always easy. Some of them are very close, published very close together, and it's not always intuitive either. Okay. So going forward, I have not done exercise with you. Yes, currency can be very important. So going forward with this exercise, what we want to do is we've collaborated with a faculty member and his graduate student to create a new information cycle program. So this new program will be platform independent, provide improved usability, and has assessment functionality built into the back end. Some further improvements we would like to include providing more feedback. Michael showed some of the feedback that we provided for the locating resources assignment for the second recitation, but we didn't quite do that for the information cycle exercise. And so that's something that we want to include going forward, because the research shows that providing moderate but prompt feedback is very important for creating a community of inquiry. Also, we had some trouble getting all groups to provide the rationale for their order. So we want to develop strategies to encourage full participation. Lastly, we made the mistake of allowing students to repeat the quiz several times, and this allowed them to sort of get the right answer or stumble upon it without much critical thinking. And we believe that many of these problems will be solved with the new application going forward. Okay, so thank you for attending our presentation. If you'd like to reach us, please contact us at the email address above. And so now we just want to open it up to any questions you may have. Is there a way to unmute people? So we have from Nava, what type of classes are we embedded in?
Besides honors, so English 302, which is our English comp class. I mean, we have librarians, librarians across the libraries embedded in all kinds of courses. But as far as Joy and I in particular, yeah, English 302s mostly. Actually exclusively, I think, right?
Right.
And the honors 110 courses. But then we have, subject librarians across the campus, again, who are embedded in all kinds of different courses.
And we have a question, do instructors from other courses request parts from this course to insert into their classes?
Well, since it's so recent that we've done this online, we probably haven't done a great job spreading the word across the libraries. But yeah, we want to get it with the new tool that Joy mentioned that's been created. It's, like she said, it's platform independent, so it doesn't have to be embedded directly into Blackboard. So it's going to be really easy to share that tool across the libraries, and definitely we want to get everything into a place where we can share it and everybody can see it, and just sort of take bits and pieces, whatever they need for their own classes.
And I miss Lisa. She has one question up here. Have you noticed more online students using the library resources since the program started? I guess clarify, program, do you mean like using online resources, or what do you mean by program, I guess, Lisa? The hybrids program? The honors program?
Yeah, so if you mean the hybrid, okay, so the hybrid honors, basically we had 2 sections of that online in the fall semester. So those were the first 2 hybrid sections of honors. It was only 60 students out of 30,000, in those 2 sections. So I don't know that there was any sort of market increase in the use of library resources. But among those students, we really didn't, when we started, we really didn't have enough time to set up really good assessments. So that's something we've worked into the new tool. But yeah, so to answer your question, we don't really know. Yeah.
Right. And I think going forward, that's why we're really excited about this new tool, as Michael said, because we will have to be able to pull the data and analyze it going forward. It's just not as easy in the Blackboard model, but it is possible. So is there any sort of statistical analysis of the impacts of this in comparison to face-to-face assistance? Not yet, but we should have that going forward. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? Geeks? Any suggestions for us?
Last chance for questions.
I'm sorry?
Just one last chance for questions. Anyone wanna? Okay.
How long did this take to develop?
How many hours?
Over a course of what, 1-2 months?
Yeah, 25 hours?
Yeah, something like that. 20, hands-on, yeah, about 24, 25 hours. I mean, this wasn't the only thing we were dedicated to, so you have to keep that in perspective. But it's not something that you can do on a whim, on the fly.
Yeah.
You'll need time. So if an instructor wants something like this, or there's something that you want to do for a class, and you have less than a week to do it in, good luck.
Yeah. But then once it's developed, it's there, and then you can just tweak it going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the development takes the longest, and then going forward, unless you want to completely revamp it, it's much easier to maintain and reuse. So if no one has any more questions, we want to thank everybody for coming out, and please contact us if you have any more questions. This is a very brief introduction to what we did. But yes, thank you for coming out.
All right.
Thank you.
Before we close, I wanted to thank our presenters, our colleagues from George Mason. It was a very informative presentation. Thanks for attending. I hope you found the presentation discussion helpful. I just pasted in 2 links. I hope people can see that. The first is the website where this recording will eventually be uploaded to. And the second link is an evaluation form. We would love it if people filled out this Google form to let us know their thoughts and on the format and everything. So if you could please take a minute or so to fill that out, we'd be very appreciative. Thanks again to our colleagues from George Mason, and have a wonderful day. And please be sure to tune into some of our other virtual conference proceedings that are coming up. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you.
Thanks.